you're managing both things. So mostly people will ask you this, that how you're balancing both things, because both things require a lot of time and
On
efforts.
top of it, I also have published 2 books. I have a family. I have 2 kids. I'm married. So it's a lot of activities for one person. And I would say that,
This is often said that mostly people say that this is the last century of books.
I mean, I am a avid reader, and I think a life without books will be very poor life. Books are like a way to learn, to escape reality, to actually create a new.
Harvard Business Review found that thought of leadership of books significantly boosts business credibility and client acquisition. With that, another research shows that entrepreneurs who publish books experiences increase the brand awareness and perceived their expertise. Creating your own brand and telling the story by the help of books is the most important thing. But now question arises, how we can do that? All these topics will be going to discuss in today's podcast, because we will be having a very special guest. She is an author of 2 books. With that, she is working as a business development head in a pharmaceutical company. She is Ana Paula. So without any further delay, let's dive into the podcast and discuss what is storytelling with the help of books. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest, Miss Ana Paula. She is pharmaceutical executive, business development head. With that, she's an author of 2 books. And the most interesting thing, she teaches people how they can tell their story with the help of books. So, thank you so much for your precious time.
Thank you for having me.
When I was going through your profile, I have seen that uh, you are working in a pharmaceutical company as a business development head. And with that, during job, you decided to be an entrepreneur. Who inspired you and what was the motivation behind it?
Yes, this is a question that I get quite often. So, I am a pharmacist as an education, and I have spent my last 15 years working in the pharma industry. And lately, I have moved in the pharma services. So, I have always been passionate about science, about the clinical research. And this is why I really like a lot my career in pharma. But at the same time, I'm a very creative person, and I've always been um, trying to find a way to express my creativity beyond the pharma world, which is very regulated, very structured. So at the beginning, like many years ago, I was working on an NGO. And then after the NGO, I bought a small business. And then with the time, I also started to write my books, and I was trying to understand how to publish them. So I always had like this side hustles activities to keep me sharp and creative while I was building my pharma career. So my latest adventure in terms of entrepreneurship is helping people writing books. So I am like a book coach, and this had happened because I have write and also publish my own books. And thanks to this journey, and then I helped some friends doing the same, I realized that I had way more knowledge to share that I thought. And in the past 3 years, I have dedicated more structured time to kind of build up this part of me, which is basically a book coach. And I'm helping now many other individuals, not only friends, to write their books.
Mostly people say that this is the last century of books and people will not going to read books after this century. What is your take on it? And after that, when you started your entrepreneurial journey, what were the initial challenges you had faced?
Yes. So, I mean, considering that I'm a very corporate person, when you build a professional life on big companies like I did in big pharma. So you have a kind of an attitude against risk that is very different when you are an entrepreneur. So when you are in big pharma or big companies, you have a salary, you of course you take risk, but it's within the border of a company. In the other side, when you become an entrepreneur, you risk everything. So you risk your reputation, your money, your time. And the acceptance for risk is completely different. And at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, this was something that I needed to overcome. People think that is because you need to be structured, you need to have a business plan. I don't think it's really like that. So many people just start to be consultant or to be coaches because they have something to share, and it goes naturally. But the most important point is like you need to embrace the risk to put you out there, to put your ideas and investments, and then see if it works. And this is probably for me was the biggest challenge, kind of embracing risk after being very protected in a big corporate world where the risks are relatively minimum.
Very well said. And now I will be going to link my next question with the previous talk. That, as I mentioned earlier, that you're working as a pharmaceutical executive and business development head, and you're working as an entrepreneur as well. You're managing both things. So mostly people will ask you this, that how you're balancing both things, because both things require a lot of time and efforts.
Yes, that's a question that I get quite often because on top of it, I also have published 2 books. I have a family. I have 2 kids. I'm married. So it's a lot of activities for one person. And I would say that, of course, I could mention organization. I could mention that I have a clear vision of myself. All those things are very relevant. But I think the most important is like it didn't happen all at once. So it's I need to take my last 10, 15 years where I build it up everything very slowly. I build up my family, my relationships, and then I build it my career. And then from an entrepreneurial perspective, I was never in a hurry. So I took the time to check around, to try. I published my books. It took very long because I needed to learn. So and then when I became more like a book coach, also it took time. I took 2 years to kind of build up my idea, my structure, my program. Everything was done on a more natural level. So I was never really pushing one of those agenda extremely. And of course, this also has some different results because if I would have pushed it completely into my entrepreneurial journey, probably 5 years ago, now I will have a completely different business that what I have now. Same for my pharma career. If I would have been 100% focused on my career and nothing else, probably I would have been a different position now that I am. But overall, I'm very happy on how everything works because if I look on the different facets of my life, I'm very satisfied. And even if everything goes lower than maybe the poor entrepreneur or the poor pharma executive, they will have been completely different trajectory of my life. I don't feel like I've missed something because this kind of life that I'm turning is very rich and I like it.
We have seen that a lot of big names, they read a lot. They have a common habit of reading. So if they are starting their day, they will going to read. If they are ending their day, they will going to read some sort of books. So it can help an entrepreneur to be an entrepreneur, or it's a God gifted thing.
I mean, I am a avid reader, and I think a life without books will be very poor life. Books are like a way to learn, to escape reality, to actually create a new reality if you want. And if you are fiction or non-fiction books, both can massively have an impact on your life. There are some fictions book that we know very well around the world that have been tremendous in terms of shaping culture and nonfiction books that are teaching even decade later, the basic of entrepreneurship or leadership or even building relationship with other human beings. So books is going to continue be part of the culture, that for sure. Now, if we want to think about what is the future of the books per se, we might discuss if the book is going to be paper for very long. I also am in the opinion that the paper book is going to reduce, and then we are going to have an increase of audiobooks or digital, that for sure, which is also good, also in terms of for the environment. I still love the paper book, of course. But in terms of reading to actually become a better person, everyone that is leading in a field today, if you can take from a religion perspective, from a technology perspective, or social, every one of those individuals are reading books, and are not only reading books on their field, but in different fields. So books remains one of the main point to kind of get the knowledge that you need and also shape your personality. And this is why I think we need to continue writing books, because everyone has something to share. Everyone has a story. Everyone has his point of view of the world or what they are doing. You can express this in a fiction way. And as I said at the beginning, so fiction's books are super important. But you can also express this on non-fiction based. So you have your business book, your how-to, like self-development books. And everyone can do this. You don't need to be the market leader or the super entrepreneur that actually have earned billions to share your story. You can really also be someone who struggle with something that is very human, and you prevail that, and then with resilience you change it your life, and so many people are going to embrace it and then recognize themselves. So the normal person with a normal job, a normal life, a normal family, can share a story that had impact, and maybe more impact than someone who is a billionaire, and you are not really like projecting yourself on that life. And for this reason, I help people to express their story and then transform that into books. Every book can change a life. And first of all, it changes your life as a writer, because the moment that you write down, like journaling, you learn so much about yourself. It's a self-development journey, which is unique. And once the book is down and it's published, you can impact so many lives. But to do this, you need to be structured. You need to understand what you want to achieve, who are you talking to, what is the journey that you want to bring the author. And this is what I like to do with my clients. And I take like a very limited number because I do have a full-time job. And when we work on those concepts, I always insist is about, it doesn't matter who you are, you have a story to share, and you are going to impact someone with your book.
During your conversation, I was very curious to know that you have been talking about storytelling, story. So, what is the working model to tell a story? Uh, let's say that I'm running a physical business and I want to build my personal brand story so that people can take interest and they can know that what I'm selling and what is the story behind this product. So how I can generate my personal brand story or my product story. I'm very curious to know.
Yes. So I need to say, the book, for many entrepreneur, you need to think the book as part of your marketing strategy. It's one of the pillars of your brand. And when you have that concept and that approach, everything changes. So many people have this wrong idea about, okay, I will write a book and it will change my life and I become a writer. This is the dream of the fews, and you can even name the fews. There are like professional writers that create books on a regular basis. Majority of the other authors, the book authors, they use their books as an additional marketing tool for their brand. So you have your brand, you have your business, and the book can support you on this. as is going to support you for like your social media strategy is part of your brand, is part of your brand strategy to actually put yourself out there and tell your story. Your website, your logo, the fact that maybe you as an entrepreneur are going around the conferences speaking about the business. All those are elements of a marketing strategy. And you can add a new element, which is your book. And your book can be different way of thinking about this. You can have your story about the life that you have come through and how the business come out. So like more a self-development and a journey book. But you can also use the book as a part integrated of your business. For example, for coaches and trainer and public speakers, the book can be part of the teaching, and then maybe part of the book is the story, but the rest is really how to do this, how to do that, and will support their business and maybe be part of, for example, for a coach, for a life coach, the book can be part of the life coach program. So when you think the book about in this strategy, you go away from, I want to become a published writer and a bestseller author. You go away from that concept and you come to a concept like, my book is going to be part of my marketing and brand strategy. And this is why you need to work with professionals and actually making sure that the book that you are creating fits the purpose that you have. And this is why I work with my writers. All the people that I work with are or entrepreneur or corporate professionals, and they have a very clear idea about the books. But when we talk about that, we realize that, I mean, I make them realize that the book is going to enhance the personal brand, but they need to have a brand in the first place. They need to understand what they want to be perceived with, and the book is going to add to that. And once you have that very good like strategy discussion within your branding team, so you can then create the book with the content that fits that purpose. And then when the book is published, you know exactly what to do with the book.
Can I generate profit by selling these books? Because every entrepreneur who's investing money in some sort of thing, he want results. So those results will be instant, or like it will take going to take time. Like, what is your take on it?
Yes, this is a relevant question that comes often because often people think that the book per se, the object, is going to generate revenue. And this is a mythology. And this is the first thing that I need to take the people out from it. So you are not going to earn money out of your book sales. And it's important that this comes from the very beginning. It can come, but you need to be already a very famous person already to make that. I need to say that many stars that publish books, they don't even earn a dime on it because plenty of reason, because they haven't really thought about that. But the book sales per se is not going to make you money. And when you are an entrepreneur or like a corporate person and you want to write a book because you want to increase business or visibility, this is what I'm talking with my clients. And I'm like, okay, what is exactly your goal in your business? You want to get more clients in a way or in another. It doesn't matter what kind of service, if you are selling a service or a product, what you want is you want to generate revenue. If you are on a corporate world, probably you want to grow up into your career. So having an increase of salary and things like that. So at the end of the day, it remains like, okay, generate more money. When you have that clear, then we can discuss about, okay, how we can do that. And we come back to the discussion about the branding. You need to have a clear brand in mind, a clear idea. What is your why and your purpose? Understanding who is your audience, understanding, okay, you are writing this book, the audience, who is this? Is the same as your client. The audience is your potential employer. The audience here, your team members, depending from the kind of book that you want to do. Once you clarify your why, your audience, then the content is going to be fine. Once the book is there, how you earn money? Because as I said, you invest in something. In this case, you invest in a book. And I repeat, investing in a book is key. You need to invest or in a coach or in someone who edit your content. Then you are going to invest on your brand. You are going to invest on looking for a publisher if you want a publishing house, or you are going to invest in a publishing agency. And then you need to invest in marketing. So when you are going to write a book, you need to invest time and money. To come out of it, you cannot say, I invest, let's say, $10,000 and I want to get those $10,000 back from the book sales. This is the absolute wrong way to start. What you need to think is about, you are a life coach, for example. You publish your book. What do you want is more clients. How many more clients you get thanks to your book? Maybe you are going to conferences and speak to conferences and distributing the book as a giveaway. And in that conference, you get 2 new clients. In this life coaching, maybe you charge 5 or 10,000 K for your life coaching. And this is it. You need to think in that way. You need to think, okay, investing in my book is going to get me more clients or more sales for my services. It's the same as you invest in your social media manager, your social media ads is exactly the same way. And when you get in that mindset, you will see that you open up the discussion of book in a completely different way. Because then you understand the book is an asset for your marketing strategy and not is a product, unique product that need to generate its own profit to get in balance. If you think about that, is a losing game because no one really earn money with books nowadays.
I was smiling while you were talking, and I think you have talked very clearly, because having purpose and then working for the betterment of the people, giving them solution of their problem is the most important thing for an entrepreneur. Now, I will going to detract you because we have a surprise rapid fire question. Uh, you have to answer them very quickly. Tea or coffee?
Tea.
Morning bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Your favorite destination for holiday?
Mountains.
Okay. Sandals or sneakers?
Sneakers.
Any secret talent that nobody knows about yourself?
I'm a good dancer, salsa dancer.
And this is the end of a rapid fire round. Now, I have an additional question that you have been using this word branding many times in your conversation. So when we listen this word, usually we say that personal branding or startup branding or business branding. So what is the main difference between these? One, personal brand, my personality brand. Can I market my brand to the customers?
Yes, I mean, I'm not an expert on branding. Definitely, there are people out there that are more qualified to talk about that. I will talk on a personal perspective. So, for me, during the year, I needed to build a personal brand that reflected a very eclectic personality, and it was not easy. So, when you are on a corporate field like pharma, you are a pharma executive, like you embrace the pharma logo, mostly the big pharma. What is interesting, when you change your job and you go to another company, your kind of identity is very related to your employer, which I found fascinating because, especially in pharma, that everyone knows the big brands, your identity is very much linked with the identity of your company. And if the company fails or have a very bad reputation, you almost are ashamed to tell around the world, ah, yes, I'm working for that company. So the branding, from the personal branding perspective, I feel like everyone working on the big corporate should be aware to kind of build a personal brand separate from the company. And I feel like way too many people embrace the brand of the employer, which is not a good thing, because you are not your employer. So, I mean, you work for them, but tomorrow they actually can make you redundant and you don't have that work any longer, you are still the same person without that. And there is a lot of then personal then challenges that I see from people coming from big corporate losing the job and losing that identity. When you are an entrepreneur, this changed completely because you are especially at the beginning, the face of your company, the face of your brand. You need to build a brand for your company, of course. And then you, as an individual, are the founder, are the co-founder, and you drive it. So it's also a problem with identity. I saw this as well with some startup. If the startup fails, they feel like they failed. I mean, it's like, yeah, no, I mean, the business idea didn't work it out. And maybe that brand needs to kind of let it go. But you as an individual, you can continue. You are not a failure. And this is again another problem with identification between you and the brand of your company and actually not separated. So with the years, I realized that I am my own person. I am Anna, and this is my brand, independently of where I work or what kind of business I am developing in that moment. And knowing this and realizing this enabled me to kind of have some freedom in social media to really express what I want, independently where I work and independently from the kind of business that I'm driving in this moment. And I will say, and I will advise people to do the same. When I talk with my clients about their brand with the book, this is a topic that comes very early in the stage because the book is an extension of your personal brand. That's because it's you. Most of the time, you also share your story, how you get there, your reflections. So very fast, people realize that they need to build a brand which is separate from the company and from the business. And the book, I feel like it's a very nice way to kind of start the conversation and go in that direction. And when we start that with my clients, then of course I direct them to a professional that specifically are going to create a visual brand and a look and feel that will transmit what they want to transmit to the world.
You have tell all the key steps, and I think this will going to help a lot of people who are watching this. We have a time limit, but before leaving, any message for young entrepreneurs, those who are doing something but unfortunately they are facing failures, what message you will going to give to them?
So my message to young entrepreneurs that in this moment are starting. So definitely embrace the risk. Be an entrepreneur is first of all embracing risk very early and then deal with failure all the time. Those two elements are like part of the entrepreneurial journey. The second, you need to mitigate the risk. So I didn't discuss this before, but embracing risk doesn't mean that you need to be reckless. You need to kind of understand that something can go wrong and can fail, and you need a plan to kind of overcome this. And this is the best way to kind of embrace it. And one of the options to kind of still be an entrepreneur but minimize the risk is still have a job and then having the security, financial security to continue, and then create your business on the side. It's intense because I'm doing like this, but I recommend this mostly because it enables you to continue living. You continue to pay your things and then to have a very nice life. While you are developing your entrepreneurial journey. And at a certain point, of course, you will need to decide what to do. But embracing the risk and minimize the risk is probably the advice that I would say to everyone that is young. And second is like, no idea is a stupid idea. Any idea can be good if it's good executed and with a good purpose and a good audience. Every idea is good.
Thank you so much for your precious time, and I hope you guys going to like the podcast. If you like the podcast, do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. We will be going to meet you in the next podcast. Till then, take care. Bye bye.